in the lively city of Alexandria during the enchanting 3rd century, I found myself under the gentle guidance of two extraordinary alchemists, Cleopatra and Maria. Of course, there were so many alchemists emerging and doing great works at this time. Their teachings, like hidden treasures, beckoned me into this mesmerizing world of ancient art. I had a deep feeling surging through my whole body that they could teach me things I couldn't learn from just anyone. Cleopatra, a sorceress of potions, and Maria, a mysterious figure steeped in the wisdom of ages, unveiled to me the secrets hidden within ancient scrolls and dusty tombs. I stood in the background watching them, their brilliant minds turning and their outstanding work coming to life. And throughout the years, they would call me forward and show me something that would shock my system. And one day, Cleopatra the alchemist brought out a weathered manuscript that spoke of a magical elixir, promising to unveil the profound mysteries of the cosmos. She hinted that no one had ever found it thus far. And I think she knew that I had an adventurous streak in me and that I would be filled with confidence that I, a student of the greats, would pursue the discovery of this ancient elixir. In the pursuit of this mystical elixir, I embarked on a journey that took me to the farthest corners of the known world. The wisdom imparted by Cleopatra and Maria served as a compass, guiding me through this dance of rare ingredients and arcane rituals. Whispers began to come to me about a concealed chamber beneath the great library of Alexandria. And with Maria's counsel, I deciphered cryptic symbols and ancient text, revealing a hidden sanctum. And in that dimly lit chamber, I uncovered a vial of liquid radiance, a fusion of Cleopatra and Maria's teachings, an elixir brimming with the distilled essence of centuries past. With a smile upon my face, I presented the elixir to them, both giving permission and a pass that it was time for me to know the mysteries of the cosmos. And as I partook in the ethereal potion, visions unfolded like petals in bloom. The elixir granted me a understanding of the interconnectedness of everything of the universe, a revelation that transcended the boundaries of my ordinary perception. Now news of my discovery echoed through the city, drawing scholars and seekers from distant lands to witness this marvel. In the twilight of the 3rd century, I emerged as an alchemist, a custodian of the enchanted legacy by Cleopatra and Maria. I looked up to those teachers, and I knew that one day their names would become a whispered melody in the hallowed halls of ancient wisdom, resonating with beauty and magic of ages long past. Welcome to Journey into the Beyond. As you know, we are on a path of journeying into great alchemists of the past, right? This episode, we're going to be talking a bit about Cleopatra the Alchemist. Now, that's not to be confused with Queen Cleopatra, but it can be confused with Cleopatra the physician. Now, we are in and around the 3rd century, also in Great Alexandria. There's certainly a lot of things that took place in Alexandria, a lot of great minds going on in Alexandria. And, it's really no wonder. I mean, it was the epic center for science, the difference between like Egypt and many other places on earth during that time was immense. Women who lived near the Nile, they were actually allowed to practice science. And not only that, but they were appreciated for their successes. So, in that era, there was no discrimination among scientists, especially in Alexandria. This situation helped, the women of that time to flourish in science and, alchemical quest. Yeah. So no wonder you have Maria the Jewess. Remember, if you have been following along on these journeys, we have Maria the prophetess, or Maria the Jewess, that was spoken about during this time. And, alchemists after that wrote about her, and considered her a great sage. And now we're talking about Cleopatra the alchemist. Yeah. And it's actually believed that they worked alongside one another. So, I mean, how cool is that? It's also said that Cleopatra is one of the 4 female alchemists that could actually make the Philosopher's Stone. Yep, that stone that allows for immortality and turns base metals into gold? Yeah. Well, she's one of 4. Maria, 2. Now I just got to figure out who the other 2 are. And we might have to journey into those 2 as well. So, yeah, Cleopatra, she was also an author. She was a philosopher. And she experimented with practical alchemy. Now, remember I said that she's not to be confused with Queen Cleopatra, companion of Alexander the Great. But that this Cleopatra the alchemist can be confused with Cleopatra the physician. You see, they both were active in and around the same time, that 3rd century BC, and in the same area. Both were alchemists, both of them were authors, and both were philosophers, and they also both took a go at the Philosopher's Stone. Now, of course, some disagree and say, hey, no, they're not the same Cleos, but many agree and say, yeah, they quite possibly could be one and the same. One writer named Marilyn Ogilvy, she wrote about this, and let me pull this up real quick. She said, many different accounts surround the person known as Cleopatra. According to one tradition, she was a physician who was mentioned in the Hippocratic writings. According to a second, she was an alchemist who was a follower of Mary the Jewess. During the Middle Ages, the traditions became confused, and a third complication was added. The name of Queen Cleopatra of Egypt was linked with the work of both Cleopatra the physician and Cleopatra the alchemist. Although both historians of medicine and historians of alchemy refer to the same ancient sources, their interpretations of these sources depend upon their biases, whether they are searching for a physician or for an alchemist. The only connection between the interests of Cleopatra the alchemist and Cleopatra the physician is in their mutual concern with the reproductive process. In the reports of the work of Cleopatra the physician, no more than one ingredient of science, the descriptive element, is apparent. As for Cleopatra the alchemist, although no evidence suggests an originality of approach, she does seem to have integrated the theoretical aspects of alchemy with laboratory experimentation. So, there's really not much known about Cleopatra the physician's life that I could actually find. And well, I mean, there isn't too much information on Cleopatra the alchemist either. Cleopatra the physician has fragments of writing in what is called cosmetics, and it's actually a manuscript offering advice for instructions and for like preparing remedies for issues like baldness and dandruff, and it has several different cures offered for each. Now, these cures, they used a variety of plants, liquids too, like oil and wine and vinegar, minerals, lead, and animal products. Now, I found this interesting because it listed roasted horse's teeth and marrow from a stag and mouse droppings. So, yeah. The surviving fragments also include a recipe for like perfume soap, instructions on dyeing your hair and curling your hair, and a list of different weights and measure systems in use around the Mediterranean. So, yeah, pretty cool. Now, see, Cleopatra the alchemist worked with weights and measurements too. Like, I feel like it was one of her things, right? And there's also 2 works on gynecology that is also attributed to an author named Cleopatra. Now, the Gynaecea, which had a collection of cures for gynecological issues. And then there was another one, Passaria, which listed like 20 devices that were used to treat things like urinary incontinence and pelvic organ prolapse. So, yeah. I also read 2 different articles that said that Cleopatra the alchemist invented the alembic, which is like an alchemical tool. And then the other article said Cleopatra the physician did. So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible that these are one and the same. And I also remember when I was researching Miss Maria, Maria the Jewish, the axiom of Maria, that she invented that instrument too. So, maybe, I don't know, maybe they all kind of played a role in it somehow, or, historians really just don't know. And since they all were in that same era and all were working together, it's probably like, yeah, they all probably played a role in it. Cleopatra, let's see, she's most noted for, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. It's spelled Chryssopoeia. Chrysopoeia. So she's most noted for that. And it's Chrysopoeia of Cleopatra. Now, that's a term in alchemy that actually refers to like the artificial production of gold, or it can be translated to gold making. Now, this was a single sheet document that contained only symbols, drawings, and like captions. And one of the symbols that's on there she had drawn was like the Ouroboros. I'm sure you've seen this symbol before. It's like the snake eating its tail type of depiction, right? And it's also called the eternal return, kind of showing that the beginning has no end, or the beginning is the end, or the end is the beginning. I don't know, that's kind of sounding pretty immortal to me. Forever! The Philosopher's Stone, yeah. The inscriptions that were inscribed to describe the Ouroboros says, one is the serpent which has its poison according to two compositions. And all is one, and through it is all, and by it is all, and if you have not all is nothing. Huh. Let me read that again. Okay. One, hold on. Yeah. One is the serpent, which has its poison according to two compositions. And one is all, and through it is all, and by it is all, and if you have not all is nothing. Huh. Yeah. I don't know. That kind of made my mind go into like the transformative notions of alchemy. You see, the drawing itself is like half black, half of the snake is white. You know, that's the two compositions that she's talking about. One has poison, right? One is all, right? What is all? All is white, right? The color white is, you know, a combination of all the colors. White, the light. Huh. So let's see. And through it is light, and by it is light. And if you have not light, light is nothing. Huh. Being consumed by your poison or darkness is just the beginning and an end. It's transformative. Oh man. Anyways, I'll get sidetracked really quick. Yeah, so the references or symbols, no, the other part of my brain's like, no, there's something in that. Like, I gotta go think about that after I'm done with this. I feel like there's something there. Yeah, so alchemy, man, I'm telling you. The other drawings were interesting too. Like, it appears to be like some sort of alchemical equation involving mercury, silver, and gold. You know, I'm just sitting here and looking at this one, and like I can envision a transformative type of alchemy with the correlating planets. You know, your sun, yeah, is gold. Your moon, silver. And I mean, would Mercury be Mercury? I don't know. I'm having this strange pull towards Mars, the Mars symbol. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's another thing that I'm going to have to take a little side journey into later for myself and see what comes up. Yeah. Anyways, another symbol in this manuscript that Cleopatra drew was the 8 pointed stars and crescent moons. And so I was reading about when alchemists would draw this symbol. It's usually because it's a symbol that talks about turning lead into silver. Now, again, I feel like there's a little more to that, you know. Or maybe I'm just trying to make things complicated, but I definitely feel like there's something more to that. I mean, it's making me think about this chat I had with my sister the other day about, you know, us being in hypnosis and both experiencing ourselves as stars. And in my session, you know, I was a star and I imploded. I mean, to me, it was kind of like this really big symbol for transformation. And I mean, like, surely, I mean, I did wind up on Earth in the next scene for my next lifetime. And, you know, how about all of those references about us being made of stardust? I mean, would that not be the greatest alchemy of all? The greatest transformation of all? From star to stardust and fragments transmuted into little earthly babies across all time and space to experience life. Yeah. I think I'm telling you, I feel like I'm on to something that my brain can't quite like comprehend yet. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave this one here and go do my thing and go do a little side journey into these prompts that are coming up for myself and see if there's something more into this. I mean, it just might just be something, to help me through my journey. Or it might be something that I need to share with you guys. So, stay tuned for that. On that note, if you're not subscribed wherever you are tuning in from, make sure you do. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I'm going to leave it here. Cleopatra, the great alchemist of the past, and, well, probably physician too, right? It's been quite the journey. And until next time, keep journeying into your own beyond.